what do you think about the BLM riots generally? Because I've seen two takes from you. One of which actually got you to speak with Tucker Carlson, which was, I mean, he's one of the biggest media figures right now in the country, so that's astonishing. Essentially,
well, I mean, just so you know, I've been appearing on Tucker Carlson's show.
No, I'm not accusing you of
what I occasionally do now for 4 years. Yeah,
in that respect. No, I'm just curious. So how do you feel about the BLM protests? Because all I see from you on these protests is criticism. With regards to the first, it was the social distancing thing, and to my knowledge, the medical experts have come out and they've said, well, for the most part, these protests aren't really contributing to the spread of COVID-19 because it's outdoors.
I don't think that's been established at all in any way that's satisfactory. But that's sort of a side issue, I guess.
By what criteria would you determine what a satisfactory determination for that is, above the medical experts?
Well, I mean, do you have a particular expert opinion that you're citing?
315 cities is a pretty huge sample size. I can find some more if you would like. But you will not be able to find any like medical evidence to the contrary for me.
They're analyzing the net effect of protest activity, including on non-protesting populations, which could have, in some instances, decreased the spread of the virus. So if you have,
you have been incredibly insistent that social distancing would be ruined by these BLM protests with no evidence to back it up. And you continue to be insistent on that point in spite of increasing bodies of evidence countering that argument, so I posit to you, the journalists who reported on the safety of the BLM protests aren't the one with political bias. You are. And you're obsessed with this sort of backhanded criticism of the BLM protests because it's easier than actually criticizing the ideological foundations of the movement.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to engage with the ideological foundations of the movement. But we are in the midst of a historic pandemic still. I
mean, you do support BLM conceptually, right?
But we had a huge increase.
Not exactly what I say does. Listen, how do you feel? Wait, take away COVID-19. We're in fantasy world. How do you feel about BLM?
How do I feel about BLM?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a little bit more of a specific question? That's kind of a broad. It's kind of an open. It's like an open-ended essay question almost. I mean,
it'd be easy for me to answer. Angle? I mean, I'm in favor of it. Are you in favor of it?
In favor of it, I mean, it is a very multifaceted thing, right? So when people say that they're in favor of it, you have massive corporations that ask you to maybe be a little bit more specific.
Do you think the premises upon which they are protesting are valid? The idea that there is systemic injustice against black people in the United States and that what they are doing is an effective way of protesting it?
That there is, I think that there is clearly systemic disparities in American society in relation to blacks that goes back centuries, and those disparities often manifest in inequitable treatment of blacks, especially in the criminal justice system. I mean,
so you agree systemic racism
with the drug war being a major culprit of that, something that I've reported on many times in the past.
So you would agree systemic racism still exists to this day?
I agree that there are racially disparate outcomes in many facets of American society. Why are you avoiding my phrasing? Well, I mean, I'm using my own phrasing.
And how do you feel about the protests? Do you think they're an effective way of addressing this? Would you change their tactics if you could?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I'm dictating tactics to a protest.
So you're in favor of
social problems.
BLM because the advocacy they've engaged in has led to, among other things, the push for this legislation?
I mean, I don't think it's a matter of me being in favor or opposed. Like, I don't understand why, if what you quote gotta do is, for example, burn down a minority business or smash up a post office.
What if it led to police reform? Wait, what if it led to police reform all across the country?
Are you in favor of gotta, or do you think that's something you quote gotta do?
I'm a utilitarian. Jimmy Dore, Kim Iverson.
Both of whom I know. Both of whom I know.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I don't.
Oh, then I am sorry.